Neil doesn't know those. He's still working on it. It's the switch furthest to the left. You just tap it down once. Thank you. On this eve of mystery and magic, let us enter into the Christmas story as if we were there on the holy night.
What part will we play this year?
Are you the mother, trusting your body to know what to do when the time of birth comes?
Are you the father, protecting your vulnerable family from unknown threats on a strange journey?
Are you the innkeeper who has no room? Or will you take us in?
Perhaps you are the animals who hear the child's first cry.
But who will sing the songs of rejoicing for the precious babe?
Who will rise up and follow the bright star of hope, even if it means a few lost sheep?
What wise ones will give away their wealth and remember what to adore?
And when the Holy Family must travel once again, who in this harsh land will shelter them?
On this silent night, let us search our hearts for our place in the Christmas story that never ends.
Let us choose again our role in the incarnation of love.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart be cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. Oh, come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. Oh, come and turn all hearts to peace, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell.
Before Santa Claus and Christmas trees and candy canes, there was a story. In the Christian tradition, Jesus was a very important person who taught others about how to be better people and better live out their faith in God. The story we tell tonight is about what the writers believed happened before and just after he was born. Is the story true? We don't know. But there are lots of stories that can be important and meaningful without our knowing whether they actually happened. Ciao. Go for
A long time ago, and far, far away, there was a young woman named Mary who lived in a town named Nazareth in an area called Galilee. This was a real place in what we now call Israel. Mary was supposed to marry a man named Joseph, but they were not yet married. God sent the angel Gabriel to her. Gabriel told her that she was favored by God and that she would become pregnant with a boy. Gabriel said, "You will name your son Jesus. He will be great, will be called the Son of God, and will become king of the Jewish people, like David was." Mary was shocked and afraid, but she also accepted what the angel Gabriel said, and she sang a beautiful song about how blessed she felt to be chosen by God. She sang about how God had done wonderful things for the Jewish people, bringing down the powerful and lifting up those with no power or money. She sang about her hope for God to help the people once again. The Romans were in charge of the country's judges, where the Jewish people lived. And the Emperor Augustus said that all of the people in all of the places run by Rome must be registered. Everyone was supposed to go back to their hometowns to register, so Joseph and Mary traveled on a donkey to the town of Bethlehem, where Joseph's family was from. When they arrived, the innkeeper told them that all of the rooms were taken. So they stayed instead in the stable where the animals lived. Mary gave birth to her son right there in the stable. And since there was no crib, she wrapped him in cloth and put him in the manger on top of the hay.
Earlier this week, I saw a cartoon image that I loved. And, of course, with it shared on social media, there's no way for me to find it again to show you. But it showed the baby in the manger with two animals around it, and one of them asked, "But how are we supposed to eat?" This special baby, born to be the salvation of the people, getting in the way of the animals in the stable. A disruption of what would normally happen in those animals' lives. For all of the people and animals, this story is about disruption. From the moment the angel appeared to Mary, nothing goes according to plan. Mary wasn't supposed to be pregnant before she and Joseph were married. Joseph could never have expected that his wife-to-be would tell him that her child was destined to be great, announced by the holiest of beings. They might have known that they needed to travel to Bethlehem, but to arrive and be denied a place to stay? To give birth in the part of the house where the animals were kept? To have no blankets for the baby or somewhere appropriate for the baby to sleep? And those animals, looking at the hay intended for them, but taken up by this human infant. What should have been plain and ordinary was disrupted and made, well, extraordinary. The holy broke into their lives and insisted that everything was going to be different. And they went along with it. So I planned to go Christmas tree shopping on a specific Friday this month. It was the second week after Thanksgiving, to miss the crowds, but before the trees would be picked over. My plan, my dream, was to drive to a tree farm, pick out the beautiful pine tree to cut down, bring it home, set it up, But as it turns out, I had a noon appointment that day. And my husband had to leave the house by 3 to teach aerial circus classes. So we didn't have all day. We had the morning, just the morning, to do all of that. And as we considered drive times, we realized that it was impossible to make my plan work. There just wasn't enough time. And I got upset because I'd set my heart on the plan. And so I had to sit with my disappointment. And I had to adjust to having to buy a pre-cut tree in town. And so I even found a nursery nearby that sold trees. And we got there. And as I looked at their selection of beautiful trees, I noticed that all of them were fir. Sure, firs smell good, but I love the soft look of pine. It was another disappointment. What do I do? Do I look for another place with trees and hope that it has pines? That would take more time. And so I looked at those Fraser fir trees, and the manager was so proud of those trees that they brought in from a specific tree farm in one of the Carolinas. And I adjusted my heart to make room for those trees. And we picked one out that was so full you couldn't see through the branches. I don't love the spiky look, but it's a Christmas tree in my home with off-white lights. The ornaments include those our families gave us from our childhoods, and the one my husband carved for our first Christmas after we were married. It's our tree, and it blesses me with its light and its aliveness when the nights come so early and last so long. So my Christmas was disrupted, just as the lives of Mary and Joseph and the animals were disrupted. And that makes room for hope, disruption, change. When the world tells us that our expectations will be broken, when all that is holy intervenes with our plans, that is when we recognize hope. We change our hearts to accept the disruption and to imagine what else is to come. The new baby, the hope in the lives of his parents, and the hope that the angels foretold for the world. The hope of Mary's song, thanking God for all of the ways that God has upturned the world, disrupted what was happening, and made room for new ways of justice. May hope disrupt your life and show you the new ways you can only imagine. If you remember our story, the baby Jesus has just been born. And not far away, there were shepherds taking care of their sheep in the fields at night. And suddenly, an angel appeared right in front of them, shining with a bright, holy light. And the shepherds were terrified. The angel told them, "Don't be afraid. I'm bringing you good news. A baby was born in Bethlehem who is very special. He shall be the Savior of the people, the Messiah." The shepherds listened as the angel said that they would find this baby lying in a manger, wrapped in cloth. Then lots of other angels appeared, saying wonderful things about God and how there would be peace among the people. After the angels left, the shepherds decided to go to Bethlehem to see this child. They found Mary and Joseph and the baby just as the angel had said. And they told everyone they could their amazing story of angels and predictions of the child's greatness. And everyone who heard was amazed by their story. Mary herself thought upon their words and treasured them. Had angels really appeared and spoken of this lowly baby as the Savior? The shepherds knew it was true, and they traveled back to their flocks, remembering what had happened.
Hope in the darkness. And it was indeed a dark time for the Jewish people who lived in this long ago time and place. Their homeland was under the rule of the Roman Empire, and day-to-day life was very difficult. Many people lived in poverty, they paid very high taxes, there was lots of crime, and the rulers were greedy and easily angered. Sound familiar? Everyday life was clearly a struggle, even for those who had some means and some standing in Jewish society. And the shepherds in this society were among the lowest of the low. While their job was very necessary, they were basically seen as social outcasts, unclean and unworthy. Many tellings of the Christian story of Christmas depict the shepherds as gentle lovers of animals and the land that they traversed as they looked for food and shelter and water for their herds. In truth, as the Reverend Mark Bellatini suggests, their reputation wasn't much better than a band of thugs, and certainly not the kind of folks you would want showing up and crowding into their maternity room. So why in this time of soul-crushing oppression did an angel of the Lord come to, of all people, the shepherds? Why did God choose them to spread the good news that a Savior had been born to lead them out of the darkness of poverty and oppression? I believe God chose the shepherds because they knew how hard and how harsh life was. God knew they knew that life is risky and messy, and in their rough and earthy humanness, God saw them as worthy. I imagine that after the angel delivered God's message, the shepherds were probably pretty shaken up and stunned, perhaps not quite believing that they had been chosen to share the good news. However, they understood the importance of their mission, and so they began their journey, stealing silently through the dark streets and alleys of Bethlehem until they found Joseph Mary and the baby. When they shared the angel's message that her baby was the Messiah, Mary nodded her head knowingly. She pondered how God had announced the news of her son's greatness through the angel, the highest of the high, and the shepherds, the lowest of the low. And somewhere in between, she fit. She knew when the angel Gabriel came to her that this child would change the world. And yet, while she is worthy to be the vessel that brings him into the world, she is not worthy to announce the good news. Mary also knows the time is yet to come when a woman's words will be heard and believed. So, while Mary cannot publicly proclaim that her son is the Savior, Mary knows that she will be the one to feed and to bathe Jesus. She will tend to his skin knees and tuck him into bed at night. She will be the one who watches day in and day out as this babe grows into a man and into his calling. As with the people in this ancient story, we too live in a dark time. A time when power and greed kindle fear and despair. I don't know that we can expect angels and shepherds to appear to lead us out of the darkness. And yet, hope can find its way. It can begin in the least expected of places, perhaps even in a cold, dark stable where a young woman holds a baby to her breast. Hope is the holy spark that compels us to keep trying again and again, to keep believing in and working for a better world where love shapes our values, a world where all are worthy, a world where the voices of the oppressed are heard and believed. The spark of hope that came with Jesus' birth kindles the flame of the work we are called to do. May this flame of hope grow brighter and stronger, lighting the way out of the darkness. Let us be about this work, this holy work of hope.
We three kings of Orient are, gathering gifts, we traverse afar. Field and fountain, brook and mountain, following yonder star. Still proceeding, guide us through this perfect night.
There were wise ones, kings maybe, who lived in the east. They saw in the sky a star they had never seen before. It signaled to them a shift in the world, the coming of a child who would become a king. And so they traveled to Jerusalem and asked King Herod where to find this child because they wished to honor him. Herod had not heard of this, and asked the priests and the scribes where the prophets had said the Messiah would be born. The priests and scribes told him that according to the prophets, the child would be born in Bethlehem. Herod asked the wise ones exactly when the star had appeared, and he told them to go to Bethlehem and find the child. Herod said, "When you have found him, tell me where he is, so that I may also honor him." The wise ones then followed the star to Bethlehem until it stopped. They were so happy to have found the place where they would meet the child. When they went inside the house, they found Mary with her little baby. The wise ones knelt before them and honored the baby Jesus. They brought him gifts in treasure chests. The first one had gold. The second had a special incense called frankincense, and the third held something called myrrh, which is used for incense and healing. All of these gifts were special and very precious. The wise ones had a dream not to go back to Herod, so they went back to their own country, taking a different way. Then an angel came to Joseph. The angel told him to take Mary and the child Jesus and to run away to Egypt, because Herod would look for the child and do him harm. And so in the middle of the night, Joseph, Mary, and the child went to Egypt until the death of Herod.
The story is written to people living in a time of great despair. It offers them hope. But as art and tradition have evolved to celebrate the joy of a Savior being born, I think sometimes the message of hope gets lost. What we've learned along the way doesn't always match what the gospel writers actually composed. The story doesn't actually say that the Magi showed up at the manger. As they follow the star, the exact timing's unclear, but it could be as much as 2 years after the birth. They arrive in Bethlehem and enter the house where Mary, Joseph, and Jesus have been living. They're eager to worship Jesus and offer their gifts. Then, rather than report back to Herod, letting him know the family's location, they rightly suspect treachery and return home directly to their lands. That night, Joseph dreams that God tells him to take his family and flee to Egypt immediately, as Herod is, in fact, out to destroy young Jesus, this potential menace to his power. I imagine Joseph, having drifted off to sleep after a long evening, delighting in thoughts of new priestly admirers, his head filled with the earthy fragrance of myrrh, suddenly getting the message, "Run, now." And the next day they flee to Egypt, which isn't far away and is in fact a common place for Jews to seek refuge. Once again, they settle in and stay for a while, but the story doesn't say how long. Eventually, Joseph learns in a dream that King Herod has died. So Mary, Joseph, and Jesus travel home to Judea, only to discover that guess who is now ruling that region? It's Herod Archelaus, son of the newly dead King Herod, known to rule with the same cruel brutality. The family is still not safe. So they move on to finally settle in Nazareth, where young Jesus will later begin his ministry. Where is hope in this story of peril and fear? This story hasn't endured throughout the millennia if it doesn't speak to the pain of human experience. We are not far removed from the savagery of first century empire. We are all so vulnerable in a broken world of greed, bigotry, violence, and criminally narcissistic rulers. I want to say that again, criminally narcissistic rulers. Joseph faithfully commits to caring for this holy little family, only to discover that they're now all in extreme peril. Where is the hope in this story? It's here. Joseph and Mary receive generosity and goodness from an overwhelmed innkeeper who chooses not to turn them away. They experience the kindness of shepherds and the adoration of the wise ones. They save their child by believing that an alarming dream is a warning to be trusted. And it's here. When Joseph learns about the danger, it's in a dream from God. So he knows that however it all unfolds, he is not alone. And hope is here. As poor refugees fleeing from danger, the family finds safety and comfort in a foreign land, a precious and all too rare blessing indeed. Where is the hope? It's found in the certainty that there is always the possibility of good in this uncertain world. It's found in the courage to keep showing up with our most precious offerings, ready to help the good be born again and again, our gift to humanity. Because this story, our story, never ends.
As we mark the space for hope in our hearts and in the world. Now, at the end of the year, how can we do something to support one another as those among us and outside of our doors struggle? So please donate to the Minister's Discretionary Fund. This special fund allows me to help people out on behalf of the church. It allows me to be generous when someone comes to me with a need. I've helped people buy groceries, get dental work, and pay for utilities, among myriad other needs. By contributing to the Minister's Discretionary Fund, you are supporting individuals and families of our church, strengthening who we are together. We take care of one another. We are a generous church. Please know that you can ask me for help, and it is available. This fund is here to support you. And as you are able, may you show your generous spirit by contributing tonight. The offering will be graciously given and gratefully received.
We hope tonight for ourselves, one another, and the world. And with our hope, we welcome the light, the shining brightness of a new star, a new life, calling us to shine its light throughout ourselves.
This is the time to pick up your candle, because we are going to pass the light from the chalice and one another until we fill the room with our combined light, our hope.
And as Reverend Jill lights her candle from the chalice, notice that she's going to hold her candle upright while Reverend Kathy tips her unlit candle into the flame. Please use this method as we come down the aisle and pass the light, preventing messy wax drips.
Silent night, holy night, shine.
Tonight in this community, we have shared stories, sung carols, opened our hearts to the beauty of music.
Tonight we have turned to one another, lighting each other's candles in the dark.
Tonight, we have dared to hear a message of hope, spoken once again against the challenge of the world.
It is time now to depart, to go forward, to our lives and to the world.
May joy be your companion, whether you are with others or alone.
May love be your strength, and may the gift of community dwell in your heart, for here, in this place, you will be welcome always, whenever you choose, whenever you need. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.